Kindly bless me so that I can make some inspiration and some touch, extra step in taking Krishna consciousness, closer to Krishna. Thank you so much. So we'll sing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, text number 17. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare. Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi. Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi. Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi. Yatra kuvabdham abdu. Yatra kuvabdram abdu amushyakim. Yatra ko bhavdram abud amushyakim. Kovarth apto bhajatam swadharmatah. Kovarth apto bhajatam swadharmatah. Anyone?
Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare.
Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare.
Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi.
Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi.
Yatra kubhavadramabhudamushyakim.
Yatra kubhavadramabhudamushyakim.
Kovarth apto bhajatam swadharmatah.
Kovarth apto bhajatam swadharmatah. Mataji. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare. Bhajan apagvotapate tato yadi. Yatra kubhavadramabhudamushyakim. Kovarth apto bhajatam swadharmatah. So, synonym word by word. Tyaktva, having forsaken. Swadharma, one's own occupational engagement. Charana ambhujam, the lotus feet. Hare, of Hari, the Lord. Bhajan, in the course of devotional service. apakvah, immature, atha, for the matter of pati, falls down, tataha, from the place, yadi, if, yatra, whereupon, qua, what sort of, va, or used sarcastically, abhadram, unfavorable, abhut, shall happen, amushya, of him, kim, nothing, kava arthaha, what interest, aptaha, obtain, abjatam, of the non-devotees, swadharmataha, being engaged in occupational service. Translation. Everyone can repeat. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. Purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. As far as the duties of mankind are concerned, there are innumerable duties. Every man is duty bound, not only to his parents, family members, society, country, humanity, other living beings, the demigods, etc., but also to the great philosophers, poets, scientists, etc. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one can relinquish all such duties and surrender unto the service of the Lord. So, if one does so and becomes successful in the discharge of his devotional service unto the Lord, it is well and good. But it so happens sometimes that one surrenders himself unto the service of the Lord by some temporary sentiment, and in the long run, due to so many other reasons, he falls down from the path of the service by undesirable association. There are so many instances of this in histories. Bharat Maharaj was obliged to take his birth as a stag due to his intimate attachment to a stag. He thought of this stag when he died. Thus, in the next birth, he became a stag. Although he did not forget the incidents of his previous birth, similarly, Chitraketu also fell down due to his offenses at the feet of Shiva. But in spite of all this, the stress is given here to surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Even if there is a chance of falling down, because even though one falls down from the prescribed duties of devotional service, he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. Once engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, one will continue the service in all circumstances. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even a small quantity of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous position. There are many instances of such examples in history. Ajamila is one of them. Ajamila, in his early life, was a devotee, but in his youth he fell down. Still, he was saved by the Lord at the end. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathamvitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadutam परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरे भजन् पाक्वोऽथ पते ततो यदि यत्र कुवाब्द्रम् अभूत् आमुष्य किं को वार्थ आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. So actually this is very important verse where Krishna is pointing out, actually Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj that as a human being, we are bounded with so many dharma, right? So there is a dharma of, like, if you are parents, right? You have a dharma of maintaining kids. Like, if you are children, you have dharma of doing so many responsibilities. There is receiving. You come with actually so many these arenas that you have to perform, right? But even somebody perfectly does this, right? He performs all his occupational duties in such a way, in a perfect way. But if he really does not develop, that prema, the love, the ultimate goal of life, right? It's just waste. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam, this beautiful verse, Dharma so beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. Let me see if I have that verse. Dharma so sunistita pumshaha vishakshena katha suya yed padiyati stama evahi kevalam. Right? If we do all this dharma, everything we try to do, all the prescribed duties, but at the end of the day, we cannot get that rati, that love of Godhead. It's from an awakening. It's a useless labor, right? So that is the main thing, right? So we can see that here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually describes that how our life is. We are living a life of reflection, right? We are stuck in this material world by desire, right? In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, actually, 15th chapter, verse number 1. Urdhamulam adashakham ashvatham prahuravyayam chandamsi yasya pranani yastam vedasa vedavid. Here Krishna actually describing here that there is an imperishable tree, right? And the roots is just upwards. And the leaves and the branches are downwards, right? And the leaves are the Vedic hymns. And one who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas, right? So in this actually Krishna is describing the real tree, right? And its reflection through the mirror of desire. You said the only thing that separating us from the spiritual world and the material world is a desire. The Ichha Dvesha Samudhina, right? So We are stuck in the material world of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Right? And this actually trees describe this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Right? And you see that this banyan tree actually represents samsara, the entanglement of material world. And this tree is so huge. If someone has seen the banyan tree, it's really huge tree, right? And so many branches, it's so dense and so complicated, right? And once you're actually trapped in this dense material entanglement, it's so difficult to get out. You're stuck somewhere. You jump from one branch to other branch, you're still stuck over there. You have no idea how deep it is, right? Just like, you're in the ocean. You don't know what is the end of the ocean. It's so deep, right? So in the same way, this complication of this material nature is so difficult to understand. It's very, very deep, right? And this attachment and aversion we have, the bhoga and tyaga, we just want to have something, we want to just enjoy. And this kind of mentality actually put us down deep into this tree. Deeper and deeper. You jump into, you think, maybe this kind of enjoyment, is not enough for me. Let me jump to different branches. Maybe that branch has different tests, right? So different kind of sense enjoyment, you want to go, I want to acquire some knowledge. Maybe knowledge is going to give me some pleasure. And you jump on the other branch. You're just jumping here and there, just like a monkey jumping, right? But ultimately, you're actually in the same tree. You think this is going to help me, that is going to help me. You're still in the material world. You're trapped. Because until and our desire is purified in the right way, right? The essence, the Vedas actually, Krishna explained, the main essence of this banyan tree is representing the Vedas, right? Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Vedesya sarve aham eva vedyo. What is the goal of the Veda, right? Vedesya sarve aham eva vedyo. Vedanta krit Veda vid eva chaham. So actually, I create the Vedas, Krishna says. And from the Vedas, what you have to do? The main goal of the Vedas is to know me. And if we are, trying to study the scriptures and not understand the main purpose of the Vedas, then it's just the West, right? So, and this attachment is so deep. And we know this one pastime when Lord Krishna and Rukmini was staying in the palace, and there was a small ant, trying to eat some sweet, some laddu that Prashad was there, and Krishna started laughing. And Rukmini was wondering suddenly why Krishna is laughing there. And he said that, this ant here, trying to enjoy, he has been Indra, Lord Indra, before, many lifetimes. He was Lord Indra before. And still his desire of enjoyment is not over yet. And still now not trying to find this enjoyment here. Right? Because unless we have this desire of bhoga, right? Brahma Bhuna Loka Punaravarti Arjuna. Even from Lord Brahma Loka, you will fall down because of this desire of enjoyment. You will be stuck there. You will be stuck. Right? And just but many people have this concept, there is no life after this. There's Charvak Muni is one of the atheistic saints. He says, Yavat jivet sukham jivet, rinam kritva kritam vivet. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragaman kutah. He says that, our life, bhasmi bhutasya, if the body is dead, it becomes ashes. There is no point of coming back, all this, nonsense thing. He says, just enjoy life. When you have this life, by even taking loans, drink ghee, enjoy full-fledged life. Why worry? Either steal, read, take loan, just enjoy life. That's the mentality people have. Right? And that's why the world are into. They just are thinking about the enjoyment. How can I give the pleasure to my senses? And that's why this material world are providing all the facilities for that. Now, the Apple product I just recently saw, they have new, now you don't even have to go to the movie theater. You just put this virtual, thing in the ear, and you can put a huge screen, you can swipe, you can do everything over there. It's amazing. You enjoy. You want to give a pleasure for your eyes, pleasure for your ears. It's all the facilities are there, right? how they produce this phone. People are now so much stuck. Hours and hours, you're just swiping, scrolling. One video, oh, there's 2 minutes gone, like other videos. And you're stuck there actually. And you're thinking this video is going to give pleasure. Oh, certain pleasure come again, more, maybe this one will give me pleasure. And they pull you down. Right? So that's what it is. And what happens? Right? Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his beautiful bhajan actually says, Bhadakhe khona bhakati vinoda kandiya katarati na bhajiya tore dina virtha gelo na bhajiya tore dina virtha gelo ekhona ki habe gati ekhona ki habe gati. No, whole life, we try to maintain, we want to do this, maintain a family, this and that, and we completely forget about serving the Lord, the whole purpose of life. And we're getting old, and the old days we know how miserable the old days is. As Krishna says, this is one of the painful things. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Right? This is really, the old days actually is one of the suffering people. Your legs are pain, you can't even sit properly. You have so many things, you like to do so many things. Your hand doesn't work. Your senses goes down. You can't hear properly, you can't see properly. And now you can really do anything. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Now, age is gone, this, all the, alarms were finished, now it's in, you try to snooze. When you have, you're young, as Prahlad Maharaj says, Kumaram Acharya Pragyo, you try, when you have youth, you have a strong strength. Learning, you never did. Right? When you're youth, never did a service. Now you're old. All the timer is over. The snooze, you try to snooze it, you try to snooze it, you try to snooze it. But time is clicking and you're about to leave the body. And nothing done. Now what is going to happen? Actually, this is a good question everyone should have. Right? Because actually the senses are very, very powerful. Very powerful. Right? No matter who, even the yogis, the Vishwamitra, you can see. The King Kaushik actually trying to challenge Vashishta. He did take thousands of meditation, years of meditation. Right? He got distracted by the Menka, he was distracted all the time because the senses are so powerful. The eyes, you can see, the eyes. Ajamila, this is going to talk about today. Our main topic is about second chance. How Krishna, there is always chance. There's one beauty thing is we're going to main focus on today. So the eyes, just like Ajamila, he simply saw a glimpse with a Sudra, right? And a prostitute having an affair. And he lost his all Brahminical, his character completely, and also but how Sobari Muni, he was meditating inside Yamuna, under the Yamuna river in Vrindavan, and just saw the fish, making out. And he, just by seeing that desire awakened him, he married 50 daughters of King Magadha. Mandada. King Mandada. And later he was realizing, what I am doing here, and did everything. His time he could use for devotional service, it was lost. Just a moment, a glance he had. A feast meeting. Just imagine the power of eyes. The power of, you can see the power of ears, like deers, the hunters, how they do. They actually play beautiful flute, music. They attract and they hunt the deers like that. The power of touch. Like Bharat Maharaj itself, even the elephants actually, how they get trapped, the male elephant. They have the female elephant, like which is trained female elephant, and they will attract the wild elephant from the forest, and they're just like touching on the skin, and this female elephant is so trained, and he just push, she just pushed the male elephant, and there's a ditch over there, big, and the person, the owner of this she elephant, make him starve for many days. That's the situation. You get trapped, the sense of touch. You're in trouble, right? The sense of tongue, the test, the fish, the big example, small worm, right? And you put a hook. The fisherman, you just get trapped, then you go boom, out of. So that's very, very powerful, right? So, but sometimes as we have, because the senses are so powerful, we want to do so many things. We wanted to perform devotional service, right? Even we have that desire. Sometimes we can blow out somehow, right? So in Abrahamic religion, this is one of the things, is that there is no second chance. You believe, go to heaven, or you go to eternal hell. That's it. One life, you have to decide. You have to choose. Right? But in Krishna consciousness, Krishna actually explained that's not really. Because we are soul. So Krishna explained Natri Vaham Jatu Nasham Natum Nimi Dhanadipa. There's never time that you don't exist. And I don't exist. And they will exist. Right? And he says this, we are spirit soul. Dehi no swing yatha dehi ko maram yogadam jara. Tatha dehantara praptir. Devas tatranamyati. We take new birth again. Right? Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai, Srimad Kai ki jai. Right? So, we can see that, and based on our consciousness, and Krishna explains this in Bhagavad Gita very, very systematically, based on our modes of nature, what we are cultivating, right? Based on that, actually, we get new birth. Right? A person actually who in a Sattva-guna, right, he lives his life in a Sattva-guna, generally in the higher planet. They birth in higher planets. And those in the Rajas, right, generally come in the lower planet. Right? They are, and those who are ignorant in Tamaguna, they either take birth in animal species or they go to hellish planet. Right? But everything is not eternal. Right? And based on our thoughts, what because the way our consciousness is developed, right, in our life, in the same way our mindset is set like that. So that's what Krishna says, Yamyam vapi smarat bhavam, tijateva kalivaram. So whatever our consciousness, whatever our thoughts at a time of leaving the body, we will get same kind of nature without fear. We're going to see the example actually Prabhupada in the purport writes about Bharat Maharaj. Right? We'll talk more. Right? So that's why. Because rather than getting trapped in this cycle of birth and death, it's like Sankaracharya says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Muramate, San Prapte Sahniti Kaya, Nahi Rakshati Dukham Karmi. Because, oh fools, says, like don't get trapped, don't be proud of all this, whatever you have acquired. Your name, fame, Sariram, Surupam, Tathava, Kalatram, Yasachar, Chittam, Dhanameru Tulyam. All your property, your wife, name, fame, nothing is going to save you. Nothing. He said. Only the name of the Lord can save you. Right? That's why Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate, you fool, don't be trapped. Right? In this wrong consciousness. That I'm gonna enjoy this world. You have to leave. That is said that as sure as death, everything you have to drop down. You have to start from zero. All your hero here is gone. You're so super, you're Superman here. But after this life, you have to start with zero. Right? Everything is finished. So nothing is going to save you. The only thing that can be saved us is by holy name. So which we're going to read through the story of Jamila, as Prabhupada writes in a purport, right? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, in the 5th chapter, 5th canto, 26th chapter, Sukadev Goswami started describing about the hellish planet. He describes about 28 different kind of hellish planet, right? Tamishra, Andha Kupa, so many different kind of hellish planet. What kind of people will go? Like, people who steal their wife, they are going to go in like Andha Tamishra, steal their wife, try to have illicit relationship with this somebody's wife. They will go to in this kind of hell. So all this hellish planet is describing people are going to suffer like this, and later, Parikshit Maharaj, as a devotee, he really felt compassion for these devotees, these people who are suffering. And he was inquiring, oh, Sukadeva Goswami, like this, it's really crazy, it's so much suffering. Is there a hope for them? What is the hope for these people? How can we stop these people from going through this all suffering? This compassion arises in his heart, right? And then, Sukadeva Goswami explains there that Kechi kevalya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agam dhunvanti karsnena niharam eva bhaskara. Kechit kevalya bhaktya. So only by devotional service, Vasudeva Parayana. So when there is a complete honorable devotional service to Krishna is there. When somebody does that complete attachment to Krishna is there, right? Agam dhunvanti karsnena. Agam, the sinful reaction we have. Agam. Dhunvanti karsnena. Dhunvanti means destroy. They destroy. Karsnena means completely. Right? Just like Nihara Eva Bhaskara. Just like Nihara means like a fog. If you have seen, I don't know if you have seen a valley. My birthplace is in the valley, is Bhaktapur, University, Kathmandu Valley. It's a beautiful valley actually. So sometimes in special occasion, we go on the top of the valley for some temple to visit. And early morning, 3 o'clock, we walk on the top. And when the morning rise, you can see the fog completely covering, right? So when it's dark, even the sun when it rises, all these fogs get dissipated. In the same way, we have so much sin accumulated, like this fog. Nothing is clear. You can't even see in front. Even by walking actually in the morning, you can actually see people very close. Like I'm here, Shiva Prabhu is there. I can't even see. That fog is really dense. But when the sun rises, everything gets dissipated. In the same way, our sinful conditioning gets destroyed by practicing devotional service. And this is the story that now Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj. In the city of Kanyakubja, now is actually in Kanuj, in present day in India, there was a Brahmana. His family is a very, very wonderful Brahmana, very staunch Brahmana. His name was Ajamila. So one day, he was a very, very nice brahmachari. He was really serving his parents. And one day he was told by his father, you go to jungle and fetch some wood for the yajna. And I think it was some grass, different kind of grass he had to find out. So he went to the jungle to find this grass for the yajna and puja sanskar. And when he was coming back, he saw the Shudra, low caste man and a prostitute having an affair in the jungle. He saw it. And he could have just walked, but he could not control it, he just again saw it. And when he came home, that thing, that what he saw was in his mind all the time. He's contemplating. Right? As Krishna explained, Dhaito Visayan Purusha Sangaste Supajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodha Vijayate. Because something you really focus, right? You're thinking, then what happens? I want it. I want to have it. That's what happens. Because you completely meditating on this thing. As Prabhupada one time told, one brahmachari was writing to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, sometimes I have some wrong desires in mind. It comes. So what can I do? So Prabhupada said, if something like that happens, you just try to change, like don't focus on it. Because if you contemplate on it, then the desire will be how you start planning, how to do it, how to get it. And that's what was happening to Jamila. And actually he married this prostitute. He had 10 sons from this prostitute. And he actually used all his father's property, everything sold just to please this prostitute. And so many demands, the opulence, the prostitute wanted. He was giving all the facilities for this prostitute, because he wanted a sense pleasure from this, and he was ready to do anything. And because while he was trying to serve his wife, he lost all his Brahminical qualifications, all his Brahminical conditioning. He started, nothing was there he did to please his wife. He was looting, he was stealing, he was killing. He really don't care. He just want money. He just want money. That's what it is. And that's what he was doing. And once it is said that in his house, actually, some Brahmanas actually in their area, somebody came and they were asking, they want to stay for one night, stay at the place to refresh them. And the Brahmanas, just to make fun of these devotees, these Brahmanas, they pointed out to go to Ajamila house. Oh, he's a nice Brahmana, go. Right? And at that time, Ajamila was not there, his wife, and he was actually really served. He was so surprised the Brahmana came. And then the Brahmanas, they say that you will have a son. You name him Narayan. And then he eventually had a son. This is the 10th son, Narayan. And Ajamila at that time was almost 88 years. Just imagine. 88 years old, and he had a son, and he was so attached to this son, so much. He used to chew the food and give it to him, feed him. He used to love him, call him Narayan, hug him. He just want to be with this son, youngest son. He's so attached. And as how the karma acts, so there's a time that everybody has to go through, because nobody wants that death, right? Nobody wants to talk about death, right? Nobody likes death, right? But death loves everyone. He never leaves everything, anyone in this world, right? And as Srila Prabhupada said, actually, whenever there is janma, means death, right? So as time we take birth, right, death is started. Time has clicking, tuk, right? And that death brings so much anxiety. And this is what happened to Jamila. So he, with all this time passing with his age, right? And his time was clicking. And one day, he saw 3 ferocious, very frightening, persons coming with a rope and going to hook him up to the rope and try to pull him. He was choking. He was they had this described as Srimad Bhagavatam, very scary. Their features are being described. Very, very scary. He was so afraid. So afraid. And generally, whenever so much difficulty in our life is there, we try to call someone whom we like most, or we are so much attached. We remember them. So he started calling Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. He was calling his son, right? And when he was calling his son, right, actually Vishnu Dutas came. A beautiful form. Vishnu again stopped. And these Yamadutas were wondering, who are these people? And they were wondering, they were so powerful, these Vishnudutas. And they were they could not do much. And this is a devotee. How can you do this? And they were so wondering, he's a sinful person. Whole life, you see that? Nothing good he has done. How can you say? He's a nice guy. There's a very nice discussion, but I don't want to go because we don't have time. Right? Later, Ajamila was he saw this discussion between, he was hearing, the discussing happening because these Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. And by this association of the Vishnudutas he realized, oh my God, what I'm doing. I was a Brahmana. Where I am. Right? Just like Saubhari Muni. Just saw a feast. Now what he's doing? Marrying 50 wives. He was doing yoga under the water in Yamuna River. And what he's doing? It's just boom, what I am doing here. I lost everything. This is not my goal of life. Right? And he left everything. And he went to Haridwar and in the temple over there and meditated his surrender. And the Lord Vishnu Dutas came and delivered him. That's a power. And other wonderful story is about Bharat Maharaj. So King Bharat, I'll just take 5 more minutes. King Bharat actually was a very great king. And he left all the kingdom, everything, and came to practice devotional service in the jungle, in Gandaki River. And one day when he was doing his worship, he saw a deer was being attacked by a tiger. And this deer trying to save his life, he's jumping across the river. And while he was trying to cross the river, and the deer couldn't, he just made it and actually left the body. And he figured out that there was a small baby. He was pregnant, this mother deer. She was a mother deer. At the time, because of the frightenness, this deer gave a birth to a stag, a small baby deer. And Bharat Maharaj was so, oh my God, he felt so compassionate, right? And this deer, there's no mother now. So who is going to take care of this, right? And he's floating down, right? So then he took him and he started taking care of this deer. I don't want to go detailed on this in the story. And how he was with this, it was every day. Oh, maybe the tiger had attacked the deer. Even he was doing worship, he was thinking about the deer. And whenever the deer used to come, hug him, to touch, he used to always remember, oh, he was like my son. He was so nice. He was always thinking about him, this deer. And while he was, at time when he was leaving the body, slowly, actually, he disregarded all his devotional service, everything, right? And he was thinking about this deer, and he was praising the moon. Wow, moon, you're so nice. At least you're protecting my deer, my son, my prince. He was thinking so many like that. And when he was leaving, the deer came close by, and by thinking this deer, he left his body. And as I was explaining, whatever you think at the time of death, you get the same kind of nature, same kind of body. And he became a deer in his life. Right? He became a deer. But there was a blessing because he was a devotee that he could remember his past life. Then this deer, knowing that what he has done a mistake, so he used to always go wherever the saints, the devotees, the sages, they were in the jungle. They used to stay nearby the huts. He used to take the remnants from this saints, sages, always very close to devotees, close to saint. He always used to be. And when this deer left the body, he actually took birth in a very wonderful Brahminical family at Jadbharat. And his father actually used to love him so much. But Jadbharat used to act like stupid, foolish, nothing. Even he tried to teach him some samskara, do achaman, you have to do like this. He just carelessly doing. Some mantra he tried to teach him, nothing. He was not interested in any of this thing. And it is said that in Bhagavatam, even his father, a lot of verses comes actually, describing that how much eager was his father was to train this Jadbharat. All his sons were so good, right? But why this Jadbharat was acting like that way? He was a Brahmin because he knew that my father loved me so much, but if I become attached to my father, he remembered I was attached to this deer. It's going to be a hopeless case. And his sons were also very nice Brahmins, but they were more karmakandis, not devotees. So he really don't want to associate too much, intimate with his family members. So he was just acting like that way all the time, And one year, King Raghugan is no longer past, and how Raghugan realized that this is not an ordinary person. He never used to take bath. He was so dirty, even his Janayu, he was so dirty and black that actually some people took him to take sacrifice, human sacrifice in Mother Durga, because they couldn't even see this Brahminical trait. He's not a Brahmana, he cannot be a Brahmana. They were thinking they were going to sacrifice him. This long past them, how Durga came and destroyed all these people. Right? And later he was delivered. And same way Prabhupada actually explained about Chitraketu Maharaj. Right? How Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed by Lord Shiva. And he was, Mother Parvati, to offend Lord Shiva. And he became a demon, Vritasura. But in his mind and heart, he was a devotee. His prayers, it is said that there is in the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, they say that, why Srimad Bhagavatam is so glorious? There is a prayers of Vritasura. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is glorious. You can just imagine the prayers of the demon is so glorious that it made the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam high. Beautiful prayers. I want to go there too. So, but you can see that Krishna again and again explaining that, what kind of people, they always have chance. I'm going to touch upon much about second chance because our timing are there. But Krishna actually explaining sloka after sloka that people who practice devotional service, they always get chance. You try. Don't give up. Maybe if you are not successful now, you still have a chance to continue from where you left. Right? Neha vikramana susti pratyavayana vidite so alpam apisya dharmasya trati matobhya. Even small effort you're doing in Krishna consciousness can save you from greatest danger. That's what happened to Ajamila. Right? And here Krishna explaining that the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planet, of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Right? So there are different kind of two classes of yogi, some became very powerful yogi, but they will enjoy and again have to come back, but they will start. They will burn in the transcendental, devotees, like a very transcendental devotees, where they can practice and continue their devotional service again, right? So this is what Krishna is explaining. And if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in the family of transcendentalists who are surely great of wisdom. Certainly, such birth is reared in the world. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. So that's why we need to understand, what that we still have chance. There is, again, by understanding and thinking that we still have chance, we should not be too reckless. Thinking that this is an opportunity for me to do the right thing, right? Because as the Acharya described, this human birth is so real. Manushya janma paya Radha Krishna naam bhajiya janiya suniya bisakhain. Right? This human birth is so rare to achieve because we can practice devotional service in this body. In animal, if you spend our life just eating, sleeping, sex, and fighting, just like animals, what's the point of getting human life? Right? So we have to, through the help of the Shastra, right, we can figure out what to do and what not to do. And by associating with devotees, by the association of devotees, we can cultivate a prepared nature so that we don't have to come back to this material world. Right? So with this, thank you everyone for tolerating me. Hare Krishna. So we can put any comments or questions we can put.
So we see an unsuccessful, he gives up everything, surrenders, but then falls away, but he'll be successful. And this story of Ajamil, who happened to name his son Narayan, in the course of our ISKCON history, we've seen occasionally devotees not just fall away, but become offensive towards ISKCON and towards Prabhupada. So they're certainly not going to name their son Narayan. What happens to someone who not just falls away, but falls away and becomes antagonistic or offensive?
For that, this is one thing about Krishna. Definitely being offensive is something that really Krishna doesn't like. As Krishna actually tells to us, in the story of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, he actually said, Durvasa Muni, what are you doing? Because I am controlled by the devotees, right? But you see, the heart of Krishna is something. This is why the second chance is so important. That as a sadhaka, right? That there is always definitely tendency to make mistakes because of our pride, because of so many anarthas, right? And even for those devotees who have tried to do something, I think even before being, against, they are like too offensive, they definitely have practiced some Krishna consciousness. Krishna says that, those are the benefits that is not going to be removed. Because Krishna consciousness, what you have practiced, it's permanent. It's not going to be removed. Maybe there could be a little struggle for that offenses. They have to go through the punishment, the kind of life they're going to get. It can be a little bit harsh, next life of what, but there is always chances for them. Actually, Prabhupada actually talks on the purport, and even in this Ajamila section, talks about this atonement a lot about atonement, because it's very natural for us to be offensive. It's very natural for us sometimes to be, make mistakes. We are not perfect. We are not perfect for sure. That's why we are sadhakas. We do, because then we have some tendency we develop, right? And then we make mistake, and for that, there are definitely so many atonements a person can perform. Just like Ajamila did. He realized it. He actually was killer. Imagine he was stealing, either killing, he really cared. But when he realized, and with a really pain in his heart, he was really terrible. He was really feeling bad. That what did I do? Then after that, with the pain he had, what the waste I did my whole life. And his austerity was so severe. That's why he was able to perform the devotees service, because he went through that atonement. So eventually, hopefully, we can just sincerely pray for these devotees. But ultimately, if they want to devotee, I think they will have some kind of definite reaction for what they have done. The reaction is never going to go. Just like they say that if there is a glass of milk, so if I put a poison in it, and somebody comes and say like, oh, this is milk, I'm gonna drink it. I didn't know that there's not milk, though there is a poison. That poison is going to affect you or not? Of course, it's going to affect you. Your ignorance is not going to help. That's why I didn't put the point there. Tasmat Shastra Pramanante Karya Karya Vivasito. Right? What to do and what not to do. Our main idea of finding those things is through the Shastra. Shastra Chakshu is very, very, you see through the eyes of the Shastra. Then only there is a chances of being protected. Krishna talks about this taking shelter of Shastra multiple times actually. When he's talking about austerity of speech, right? Swadhyaya Vyashanam Chaiva. You have to do Swadhyaya, you have to learn the scriptures. You have to do Swadhyaya, you have to study. Because you don't know what is real, what is truth. Because when you read the scriptures, then the clarity will come. Right? So, hopefully that answers my question, I know. Thank you so much. Anybody have a question? Okay, we'll come with the
Yeah, Prabhuji, regarding Bharat Maharaj, if we see that attraction, affection, the mistakes slide, what we have shown. So that attraction, affection, and it is very natural. So as devotees also, how do we are definitely attracted as a parent, we are attracted to our children and we have that affection. So how do we not follow that example of Bharat Maharaj?
So that's why is the attachment in this material world is so dangerous. And anything that is not connected to Krishna is going to bind you. That is for 100%. Anything, any kind of love, any kind of compassion, any kind of thing you do that is not connected to Krishna consciousness is definitely bondage. That's why Prabhupada was saying, it's not about, when Prabhupada saw this a boy in Calcutta, he saw a boy and a dog from the pile of dust, garbage. They were fighting for a roti. A boy and a dog. The animal and the dog are fighting for same food. You feel terrible and miserable. But Prabhupada, what he did, the concept of not providing food. He transcended that particular thing and created food for life. We have to give prasad. It's just the ordinary food now. That compassion is there. But he didn't give them ordinary food. He gave prasad. He massively distributed prasad. He said for 10 miles, something miles from Mayapur, the temple, nobody should go hungry. And he was feeding prasad. So same way, compassion can be used, but until unless our consciousness is not right, it's very, very dangerous. That's why it's not very highly recommended to have pets also. Because you get so much attached naturally. You're feeding, maybe you're thinking one of my colleagues actually, his friend was telling, they have in their house they have a snake, they have a frog, they had so many, and they have to feed the rats, live rats, and his son in school, and his pet is at his mother's home, and he always calling, "Mom, did you feed my snakes? Did you feed my frogs?" His consciousness is like that. He's always thinking about his pets, and naturally, there is a chances. So rather than doing those kind of things, for temporary thing, you can do certain things helping, because just like animals, they will naturally adapt to the wild. Right? If you start thinking like that, then you have to go and find all the babies. Oh, they have been protected by the tigers and everything. You will be lost there. So we should not go deviate from our goal. So that's what actually happened to Bharat Maharaj. He went so deep to this, so that he lost completely actually. It was an illusion. He was in moment with this. Very good. Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you everyone. So we'll have prasadam now. Oh, we have now pushpa. Everybody can offer flowers. Please make a line.